How about now?
Okay, yeah, I can see you. Yay.
All right, still working out the bugs on this thing. Hey, board gamers, BJ from Board Game Gumbo here, back with another episode of Gumbo Live. Got a special guest tonight, Carla Kopp from Weird Giraffe Games. They're the makers of Stellar Leap that has just successfully funded on Kickstarter. Congratulations, Carla.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
Yes. Hit me up on social media tonight, Twitter at Board Game Gumbo, or on Facebook.com/Board Game Gumbo, or you can always email me, boardgamegumbo@gmail.com. Got a couple of show notes, Carla, real quick before we get started. The Gumbo crew hosted the Louisiana Comic Con's board game section this weekend. Fantastic success. We had over 300 people, so check out the Facebook and Twitter pages. You can see some of the games that we checked out, and want to thank all the companies, and especially want to thank Gulf Coast Gaming Events, LLC, our friend Steve Huckabee from down in Mississippi, who brought Carla over 1,300 games to the library. We had just a ton of people. So big thanks to Steve Huckabee and his buddy Robert Ashmore on that. On the blog side, Board Game Gumbo, a proud member of Punchboard Media. We've had a couple of great articles lately. Jason Dinger did a surprising essay about why Agricola is his favorite game. And Carla, it's not the reason you probably think. So check that out when you get a chance. Also, my buddy Matthew Ward from the Wham Boys and the Dukes of Dice. He went deep into Scott Pilgrim's little card game, a precious little card game out from Renegade Games. So if you got a chance, check those out. All right, enough with the show notes. Let's talk to our special guest, Carla Kopp of Weird Giraffe Games. She's the designer of Super Hack Override, not Overdrive, and the new Kickstarter Stellar Leap. Welcome to Gumbo Live. It is awesome to have you here.
It's great to be here. I'm so excited. I haven't done one of these video things yet, so I hope I don't do anything weird, like just wave my hands because I can see them.
I just watched your video, and your hands were just like mine. A good Louisiana boy talks with his hands, and looks like you do the same thing too. So no, don't even sweat it. It's going to be good. So for the people that I got to meet you over at Gen Con through our friend Jeremy, but there's a lot of people that don't know you. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I am Carla. I'm in Huntsville, Alabama right now. I am a software engineer, and I just love board games, I guess.
So everybody I've met from Huntsville are either lawyers or rocket engineers. I guess it's Rocket City, right?
That's what they call it. So, yeah, there's a lot of rocket engineers. I'm actually not one of those. So, I thought about being an aerospace engineer. When I was in college, I was like, should I be an aerospace engineer or an electrical engineer? And then I flipped a coin, and electrical engineer won, and this is my life. So,
wow. So you're an EE. That's great.
Yeah.
Hey, my buddy Steve O'Rourke, the name father, we call him, from the Dukes of Dice podcast. I don't know if you ever listened to the Dukes of Dice, but fantastic podcast. And there's Steve O'Rourke telling you hi. So wait
cool.
for Steve.
Yay, hi.
Hey, Steve, thanks for checking in. Hey, so I don't know a lot about the games that you really like. Tell me a little bit about some of your favorite games.
Okay, so there's a lot of games I like. I think my favorite thing is just to play a new game because, I really love exploring a new game and seeing, how did somebody take the same mechanics and just do it differently, or what is new, what is the art, how did they put these things together. That's my favorite. But if I have to talk about a different game, like a specific game, I think I'd talk about The Great Dinosaur Rush. Okay, I like dinosaurs. If anyone knows me, they know that I love dinosaurs. When I got married, the wedding theme was dinosaurs. Basically,
really?
If I can do dinosaurs, Stellar Leap even has a dinosaur because I was like, what is the first thing that I'm going to add to Stellar Leap? It is a dinosaur, obviously. So,
okay.
Yeah,
now
when you design your own games, you get to do what you want. So, The Great Dinosaur Rush. In this game, you're an archaeologist, and you are getting different kinds of bones, and the bones are really just different colored sticks. But the bones are colored, so red are appendages, and blue are weird things like horns or spikes and stuff like that. So you get your bones, and then you rank different parts of dinosaurs, like ferocity and size and weirdness, and you make them worth different things. So if you want to make the biggest headed dinosaur ever, you raise their ferocity a lot so that you get a lot of points for doing that. So you grab the bones, and then 3 times during the game, you make a dinosaur from sticks. It's like really hard. The first time you do it, it won't look like a dinosaur, but it's like so fun to like, okay, you made this stick dinosaur, but next time you can make a better one, and like eventually you'll make things that look like actual dinosaurs, which I'm always like really happy. Like that's my favorite, is making the sticks into the dinosaurs.
I saw the guys from the Dice Tower talking about this. That's the one where you're taking the little bones and you're putting them together to make the dinosaurs. That did actually look like a pretty cool game.
Yeah, it's like the only creative game that I will play. I'm not good at creative games.
Oh, you're not good at those. What's the most recent game, other than Stellar Leap, of course? What's the most recent game you've played?
Between Two Cities. I really enjoyed that one, and it's really good for board game night. I was really disappointed because like I had gotten the Between Two Cities expansion that adds like all the prettiness to it, and I was like, hey guys, we can play Between Two Cities with this expansion, and they're like, nah.
They just wanted to play the base game?
Yeah, they just wanted to play the base game, and like I try to be a good host, so I was like, but expansion. But then they were still like, no, we don't want that.
Yeah, that's Stonemaier game. That's I don't think Jamie designed it. It was just a game that he brought in to Stonemaier Games. Plays 2 to 7, if I remember. We've actually played it at our Gumbo game night a couple of times. I had a blast with it. It's I like tile laying games. I like those kind of drafting type games too. So what attracts you to that game?
It's really good for a large number of people. Like it plays 7 just as well as it plays 3. I use it a lot at work to try to get like people at my work to cooperate together. So it's like a team building exercise, but it's a board game. So like you get people to talk at each other, and it increases communication and stuff like that. Like good things.
BJ from Board Game Gumbo here, back with another episode of Gumbo Live. I have Carla Kopp from Weird Giraffe Games, absolutely giddy and celebrating her first day. I mean, this is it's only been 2 days, and you guys already funded Stellar Leap, and we're gonna be talking about it a little while. But you seem obviously pretty excited about that.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Carla Kopp, and it's Weird Giraffe Games, but is it just me, or does that not look like a giraffe and more like an okapi?
I mean, I made that logo, so yeah.
That's just a joke. I heard you talk about it on a podcast the other day, and that was pretty cool. I did not know an okapi if I hadn't listened to that podcast.
But did you look it up after?
I did look it up, and you know what? It does look like an okapi, and it was a great pun, and I love puns.
Yeah, so you could just call me like Okapi Games instead of Weird Giraffe Games, and I would be okay with that.
You would be okay with that. So, first time I got to meet you and Nick, your husband Nick, from Weird Giraffe Games, was at the Punchboard Media Group meetup right there outside of Gen Con. Jeremy, the Game Geek Ninja, introduced us. I don't remember, though. Was that your first Gen Con, or had you guys been to Gen Con before?
That was my second.
Okay.
Yep.
So what did you think? You and I, that was my second also. What do you think of Gen Con?
I think it's really awesome. It's probably not my favorite convention just because there's all the people all the time. So you have to like constant rush everywhere. But it's like so cool because you can talk to like 100 people in a day.
Yes. So what is your favorite Game Con? Is it Rocket City Game Fest?
I would say Origins is.
Okay.
Rocket City Game Fest is good. It's local and it's really cheap because I can, come home afterwards. But I really love Origins because I like staying in the Unpub room. So there's a room that's just for unpublished games, and it has a bunch of designers in there. And so I would just play Stellar Leap, and designers would give me feedback on it, and it was just crazy awesome. And then I would play other people's unpublished games and give them feedback, and I got so much done with Stellar Leap just in that like 1 week of playtest after playtest, and change it, playtest again, change it, playtest again. It was really cool. And I also got to like meet people, but like at Gen Con you meet someone, you might play a game with them, and then you're done, you don't really see them again. But at Origins it was like, oh, hi. And then you see them again the next day, and then you go out to dinner with them, and then you just hang out for the entire it's not a full week, but it's like 5 days. So yeah, it's like a bunch of friends just playing board games.
You know, that's what they tell me BGG is like. I haven't been there yet, although it looks like I'll be going there this November. But I got to go for the first time to Dice Tower Con in Orlando, and that's exactly the way you described it. Look, I love the fact that at Gen Con, I get to see tons of people. There's a lot of shopping. There's gaming if you're looking for it. But at Dice Tower Con, from 8 in the morning until midnight, we were gaming. We were chatting with people. I mean, at Gen Con, it just doesn't seem like you have time to have a 3-hour chat about board game theming, you know? And we did that at Dice Tower Con. So I could see why you like Origins. Now, you designed Super Hack Override, which is, you know, a quick little card game, take that type thing, as best I can tell?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And then you've got the bigger game that we're going to talk about in a little while, Stellar Leap, the big, you know, 4X light game. But the game you and I played had nothing to do with either one of those. Do you remember it was Galapagos? That crazy party game from Zhigimic Games.
Yeah.
Zhigimic Games.
It has a name.
God, I've heard even the people that work for that company pronounce it 2 or 3 different ways. But so, are you a party game fan? Is that your kind of game?
No, I really hate party games. Like, if I had known what I was getting into, like, I'm not a party gamer. I'm not.
So Galapagos was one of those crazy cooperative games until it's not, where we're all stuck on this stranded island and we're trying to use our resources to use our people to try to get water and to try to get food and to build a raft to get as many people off as we could. But you know, the whole game just broke down within 3 rounds. There was me, you, Nick, and Jeremy on one side, and a group of other friends, you know, that knew each other on that side, and then the group in the middle, and we're all competing to see which group was going to be the last one standing. As I recall, we kind of used you to get to the end. You had something, if I remember right, that was able to pick off a couple of guys.
Yeah, I think it was like the club, but like as soon as I used it, then somebody killed me, and it was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, so do you ever see yourself designing a one versus many cooperative until it's the end type of game?
Maybe. Like, I do like some cooperative games. Like, I don't play a lot of cooperative games, but I do like hidden trader games, so I could design one that was like that.
What's your favorite hidden trader game?
Maybe Dark Moon.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I really liked that one when I tried it.
That's the Battlestar Galactica mini type of game, right? Dark Moon.
Yeah. I really want to actually play the Battlestar Galactica game because, like, if I like Dark Moon, I'll probably really like the Battlestar Galactica game. But also Emergence. Have you heard of that one before?
It was on the table at this Louisiana Comic Con. None of us knew how to play it. A couple of people checked it out and went through the rules, but I never even got to see it played. It just has this stark white box with the name Emergence on it, and none of us could even figure out what it was. So, no, we never got to play it. Tell me about it.
So, in this reality, like, the humans have lost, the AI are, you know, there, and they're the good guys, and they're trying to find out who the humans are so that they can, you know, get rid of them. So, I think that whole idea is really funny because, like, you're trying not to be a human, but yeah, so you have to pick up the different colored cubes, and if you turn in a certain number of them, you can get knowledge where you can use to, like, kill other people, but, like, it doesn't really kill them. But then you use the knowledge to vote for different things, so you can vote human or AI, but then after everyone has voted with their knowledge, it's revealed how the votes ended up. So you might want to vote for the other side just so nobody knows that you are a human or an AI.
Some pretty delicious decisions there. That sounds like a lot of fun. I'm going to have to check that one out. Mm-hmm. So I heard you were a big Magic player growing up. Is that right?
Not really growing up, but like in college and a little after college. Like, yeah, I really, really liked it.
I played a lot of Magic a long time ago. I ended up kind of getting out of it when Fallen Empires came out. I mean, that's sets that are ancient to most Magic players. Way back then, Legends and Fallen Empires in the Dark and all that. And I got out of it, but I've played it off and on since then. I noticed that a lot of designers or former Magic players. Is there anything about Magic that you've brought into your design sensibilities?
Not really. I brought in the term exhausted, and I think that is the same Magic term, but not that I remember. Like, I mean, they're all it's like a balance issue. There's like the 5 different colors, but I don't think so.
Nope, not really. That's okay. So it's a big day for you today. For the whole Weird Giraffes team, Stellar Leap was funded. This thing, I know that you've been working on it for about a year. Tell us about Stellar Leap.
So Stellar Leap, it's a space exploration game for 1 to 4 players. It plays in about 40 to 80 minutes. It has variable player powers, hidden traits, and game-changing events. So in the game, you're a certain species, and you have a hidden trait. You get to choose it from 2 that are given to you. And so that trait will lend to a certain strategy, but you don't have to stick with that strategy. You can go with whatever you want, really. And you also have a dice power. So the game starts off, and if you're the first player, you roll 2 dice, and then you can manipulate the dice with your with your variable player power, which I think is really cool because I hate like those dice games where you roll the dice and you do something like roll double ones, and then it's like, oh. Yeah. What do you do now? Right. So that's why I added the dice manipulation power. So the dice determine what planets generate resources. And when planets generate resources, everyone gets resources, which is also a pretty cool thing about the game because maybe you want to cooperate with somebody, and so you all want to be on the 6th line because it's the values of the 2 dice and the sum. So 6 is rolled a lot more, so you can turn it into kind of like a semi-cooperative game. Or there's some people that just, hate other people, and they will purposely not get resources just so other people don't get resources. And it's just really whoever you're playing with. So and then...
Go ahead.
Yeah, and then after you roll the dice and figure out how the planets are going to generate resources, you go into your action phase. And in the action phase, you decide between the 4 high command actions, which are creating more population, attacking, taxing, which gets you some resources, or discovering a new planet or asteroid. And then you get to, you draw 2, you choose which one, and then you place it anywhere in the galaxy.
So what was your biggest influence in designing Stellar Leap?
So a lot of it was dice manipulation, where I liked games like Catan and Valeria Card Kingdoms, where everyone gets resources on every player's turn. Okay. But I'd played like Valeria Card Kingdoms, and sometimes you just roll dice and they just don't, like, it's not what happens, like the probability, and it's just not good. So I was like, I'm gonna create a dice game that has strategy where you get to change how the dice roll. Like, there's still some randomness, because like space has randomness, but you can change it a little bit to go in your favor.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Machikoro for the reasons that you're describing. Sometimes the game just evolves into just rolling dice and, oh wow, I helped somebody else out. There's not a lot of decision making with the base game. I've added a couple of expansion cards, and it seems to alleviate a little bit, especially if you use random startups on the buildings. But it sounds like you've tackled that problem, and in other words, you spotted that problem and you're trying to tackle it.
Yeah, and like another thing about those types of games is there's not really a lot of player interaction. Right. Like in Machikoro, you could try to buy something before somebody else does, right? And like right. The same in Valeria Card Kingdoms, but like you don't actually interact with everyone. Like you have to really watch them and like then steal the thing that they want, and that kind of feels bad. And well, I'm not a take that person, so.
But you do like interaction in your games?
Yeah, I want like people to interact and not just be playing like a solo game but with their friends, Right. Yeah, so on Stellar Leap, one of the things that caught my eye is one of the grail issues for me is, can you get a 4X game that sets up pretty easily, you can play the game, and you can tear it down in about an hour?
with variable player powers, and you're promising that in the Kickstarter. Can you deliver it?
Yes, I mean, that's what you can do. You can also change the game length. So the game ends after 6 events, and events are triggered by players, like they're getting to a certain amount of population or discovering a certain number of asteroids, like things like that. So if you're worried about going over an hour, just play to 4 events instead of 6.
Okay.
So because the timing is kind of weird, because a lot of times players don't want the game to end. They want to do the thing, like they want to get to a certain amount of population or discover a certain number of things. So they try to make the game not end, and they don't trigger events. But if you're the person that does want it to end, you can end it, as soon as you want.
Yeah, that's kind of the weird thing that happens in certain games where it's free form and you're trying to figure out what the end is. There's a game I like by NSKN Games, Submerge. It's a dragon game.
Okay.
It's a worker placement game, but they say, start with this amount of turns, and it's too short. And they even tell you that in the rule book that, after your first couple of plays, you're going to want to play longer. Well, just design the game with that in mind. You know what I mean? Yeah. I get what you're saying. The players themselves can decide if it's shorter or longer, and it's nice that NSKN says that you can have a short, medium, or long game. But the short and medium games just aren't that satisfying. The full experience of the game is, and I'm sure it's the same way in your 4X game, is in developing, is there a little engine building in it a little bit?
Yeah, a little. Yeah.
And so you want that payoff. The worst engine building games that I've played are the ones that stop right when the engine starts humming. Because I want the satisfaction of seeing what my engine is doing.
Mm-hmm.
How did you work on that?
So originally we just had 4 events, and it got to the point where it was like, I was just getting to where I wanted to be. And we wanted a longer game, so I was like, well, instead of 4, let's just play till 6 and see what happens. And then that seemed like the perfect length. You got to a certain point, and you're like, this, I need to cut it off now. So my opponent doesn't do whatever he wants to do.
So you got some stretch goals that are coming up, right? What's got you excited about these stretch goals?
Well, every stretch goal is exciting. I have planned them all. The next one, which I haven't announced yet, actually. Well, I announced it in the Facebook post. Okay. So it's thicker cardstock. I am a super fan of quality upgrades. So a lot of them are quality upgrades because I want this game to be super great to play. Just to feel linen card finish will be in there somewhere. Okay. It won't be the next one. But one that I'm super excited about is the score pad. Instead of, okay. Yeah, because right now, you write the scores, I've just been writing on paper, but we could have a score pad. So
it's true. I love having that score pad in 7 Wonders where you can just figure it out right there at the end. Yep. Yeah, I get that. All right. So let's just say, just imagine, what if this thing blows up and it does a lot more than what you've set out with your stretch goals? Is there a crazy stretch goal that you're like, man, if this thing really blows up, we could do?
So I actually have stretch goals that go for far longer that I think will actually happen.
Gotta dream big.
Yeah, I mean, we have to be prepared. We're actually not prepared with all of them. Some of them we're still getting quotes back, which is why all the stretch goals aren't released. So yeah, but I think my favorite thing to do would probably be to make the player boards. Right now they're thicker cardstock, but they could be dual layered cardboard. Which is somewhat expensive, but it also is recessed so that you could put your cubes into the recessed, and it also looks really cool. So it makes it less bumpable. It's not really bumpable now, unless a cat really gets crazy on your table, but you shouldn't let cats on the table anyway. So.
Probably not. Hey, you got somebody that wants to say hi. Troy Uteridge?
Oh, Troy. Yeah.
Yeah, say hi, Troy. So Troy's watching the broadcast, and he likes puppies.
Okay. Yes.
I think those are dogs, right?
I'm pretty sure that they are.
Okay. Well, hey, Troy, thanks for listening. Board Gamers BJ from Board Game Gumbo here, back with another episode of Gumbo Live. We got Carla here from Weird Giraffe Games talking about Stellar Leap. All right, so how long is Stellar Leap going to be going on? What's that Kickstarter?
It ends on October 19th, 10 p.m. Central. So
plenty of time for people to get in, and it looks like you're getting a great reaction because, as we talked about earlier, you have funded.
Yay!
Troy says he wants to tell you what dogs they are.
Yeah.
Those are coonhounds.
Anyway, but you shouldn't wait to back Stellar Leap because there's certain tiers that are limited. So if you want like the super special tiers and have your name on the cards, you should get to it now.
Oh yes, I'm glad you brought that up. So I've got a video coming out with the Dice Tower talking about Stellar Leap. So check it out on crowdfunding. Should be coming out in a couple of days. But I did tell the audience that I wasn't quite sure about those stretch goals. So one of them, I'm sorry, not stretch goals, your funding levels. So one of them says that for like $150, you can actually name something, and it'll be in every game that's going to go out. I mean, that's kind of the dream of everybody, right? You name a planet or you name something like that, and it becomes a part of the game forever, right?
Yeah. So you get to be the first discoverer of some planet or asteroid. I might let people choose, depending on like what order you got in. But yeah, like you get to choose. Like you could be the first person who discovered Misery, or some asteroid.
Are you a Stephen King fan?
No. So all the planets are concepts. So some games are really depressing, and some are like. Usually that's just a random order of like, oh, you got victory and hope and misery and disdain. But there was this one game I played at Origins with some friends where it was just all negativity, and they were like, Carla, do you need help? Did you design this game just to get us to help you?
Was that a cry for help? All right, so the other funding level, though, is the one that I'm a little confused about. For $10 extra, you can get the expansion, but for $20 extra, I'm not quite sure exactly what you get. You name something like a home planet, and it only comes to you, but it doesn't go as part of the big game.
True. Yeah. So you get to name and determine the color of your home planet, and you get to play with that, and nobody else gets it.
Okay, so it's like a player starting board.
Yeah, so in the game you have a home planet, and you always start from that home planet. Nobody can attack you. It's a little better than other planets. It gives you resources of choice, which, aren't really in the game otherwise.
So that one home planet would be played by one player against the other three players, right?
Yeah, well, everyone gets the home planet. It'll just be like an extra special to like show off to your friends kind of thing.
That's pretty cool. Okay, now that I understand it, I wish I could redo the video, but that's all right. They can always watch this video here on Gumbo Live. All right, so that is Stellar Leap. We got till October. Still plenty of time funding. You're from Huntsville, Rocket City, as we talked about, where the Rocket City Game Fest is. What's the Huntsville gaming scene like? You guys blowing up, staying steady? What's it like?
It's really awesome. Like there is a game night, I think, every night if you want to game every night. So yeah, like I have a game night that's at Sugar Bell, the cupcake place, which I really like because, who doesn't like milkshakes and board games?
Cupcakes and gaming. I mean, doesn't that go together?
Exactly.
I'm curious. How did that start?
So I think Sugar Bell was doing a game night before, and then there was this entity called Geek Out Huntsville, and they contacted me and another game designer in town, and they're like, hey, we should do this event together to promote your Kickstarter. It was during the Super Hack Kickstarter, and I was like, okay, I'll do an event with people. Why not? So I went there, and I met the people from Sugar Bell, Andrew and Lee, who are amazing. And they were like, hey, you should just host a board game night the second and fourth Tuesdays. And I was like, okay, I can do that. I like games and cupcakes and stuff. So,
and you guys have kept it going?
Yep, ever since then. So I guess it's almost been a year now.
So that's the secret. You just find a local cupcake store and start a board game night.
Yeah, you just do that.
I've never heard of that before, but it sounds delicious. It sounds awesome.
I mean, it works for everyone. Like, they get to sell cupcakes, we get to eat cupcakes. So, but there's plenty of like other game nights. We have a meetup that, well, there's several meetups, but it happens on Wednesdays and Thursdays and Sundays at various locations. There's also the Friday Huntsville. There's a Huntsville tabletop group that meets every Friday, and those guys are amazing. I've made so many friends there. But there's also Asylum Comics just open, and they have a Friday gaming night as well. So that covers everything but Monday and Saturday. But I bet somebody has something going on Mondays and Saturdays. But I just need to, you know, not game every single day.
Yeah, I know it is. I just got an email with a question. Play testing. How did you guys? You know, that's always the question about Kickstarter. Is a game baked in all the way? You know, there's a couple of Kickstarter projects that I played with people at Gumbo game night, and I just keep thinking to myself, man, this thing needed a little bit more time in the oven. So how did you ensure that you got the right play testing? It can't be just you and Nick, right?
Oh, no, we play tested. Like, if you look on the Kickstarter page, you can see a big thank you of like all the people that I could remember play testing with, where I know that I forgot some people. I will admit that I did not keep good records. I should know better, but I didn't. But yeah, I have play tested this for 9 months or so with so many different people. I've play tested every player count. I've done a lot of blind play testing. Like, blind play testing is really hard, and I'm always like, yeah, this will be the last blind play test, and then it's not. So if for the people that don't know, blind play testing is when you just hand the rules to somebody and they have to figure it out on their own. So it makes sure that the rules and the game and everything is really obvious. It's really important because you find things out like that the art is like there's things wrong with the art or the graphics design or the rules themselves, or maybe you need to have a note here, or maybe you just need to say this thing like 2 or 3 times instead of just the once. So yeah, I blind play tested until like I think 3 people in a row could all play the game, no extra help or anything. Like they went from just the box, figuring it all out.
Yes, I teach a board game. It's called Gaming Merit Badge with the Boy Scouts, and I was up in North Carolina teaching it a couple of summers ago. And when I told the scouts that the last requirement was you got to take the game that they spent all week designing, they got to write up the rules in nice handwriting, and hand it to these 3 strangers, you know, kids from across the room or adults that were helping us out, and just hand it to them. And I said, you can't even watch them. They're just going to play it, and they're going to give you feedback. And they're looking at me with eyes like this big, like saucers, you know, like, wait a minute. I can't even give them any guidance. I was like, no, when you send a game out into the wild, somebody needs to be able to just read the rules. I mean, not every game has Rodney Smith walking you through the game, or you could even remember them, right?
Yes.
So what is that feeling like when the first time this game that you've been working on for a year, when you just blindly hand it off to somebody and say, tell me what you think?
Well, it's usually they're pretty confused, honestly. Like, I don't write the best rules. Yeah, so the first time... What's the
feeling like for you, though?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's really nervous, but it's usually not, because I know, like, well, like, doing blind play testing, like, you're not going to do it once. You're, like, even if the first time goes perfectly, you're still not going to do it once. So it's like, okay, like, let's see what happens. Like, I am fine. Like, I know that I'm not the best at this, so let's find out where I went wrong so I can fix it and, like, iterate and do it again and again. So...
All right, so where are you guys traveling? You know, we saw you at Gen Con. What's your next conventions or traveling? Where is Stellar Leap going?
So we're going to Atlanta Protospiel, which is, I believe, October 20th, like the day after the Kickstarter ends.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's a thing that's happening. We have to be ready for that. And then after that, I might be going to PAX Unplugged. Okay. I haven't decided yet. I need to get a hotel or something soon so I can actually go.
But it's the same week as BGG this year, so you got to pick one or the other.
Yeah, I think BGG just sells out like immediately, so
Yeah.
I don't really have to choose.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, if you can get into PAX Unplugged, you might as well get over there. What's next for Weird Giraffe Games? You guys have anything in the hopper or not ready to talk about it yet?
Oh, yeah, so we have a couple games in the works. The first is Observance, which is a stargazing game. So in the game, you're an astronomer, and you are looking at the stars and trying to identify constellations. And one of the cool things about it is like the night sky, like it's only night for a certain amount of time in the winter, or like it's actually in the winter the night is really long. So if you were an astronomer, like watching the stars, you would get to do a lot of things. But in the summer, the night is actually a lot shorter. So it's going to be one of those games where you have to figure out how to do time management in addition to whatever your strategy is.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds interesting. Is that coming another Kickstarter project?
Yeah, definitely. I don't think I'll be off Kickstarter for a while, unless I get like wildly successful. But yeah. So that one might be the next, but I also have this other game. It's tentatively called Drapple. It is an abstract gardening game with color theory. In it, you get a bunch of tiles, and you have to make sure that all your tiles that you want to play in a certain turn are all matching on the color wheel thing. So say you wanted to play both a blue tile and a yellow tile, you'd also have to play a green because it matches on the color wheel, like it connects on the color.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see that. Hey, what was the best? Was Galapagos the best thing you played at Gen Con?
No.
What was it? What was your favorite game at Gen Con?
I think Spy Club. I really enjoyed Spy Club.
Okay.
And I think it's actually launching on Kickstarter tomorrow.
Okay.
But yeah, I got to play an early edition of it. And Spy Club is this campaign game where you are you are kids in a town and you all decide to make a spy club because obviously things are going wrong in your town.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so it's really fun. You play the first game, and then you're basically accusing someone of doing something for some reason, but there's also like this overarching plot that's going wrong in the town, and you have to try to figure it out. So there's 5 games and 5 different types of clues. In each game, you choose a type of clue, and when you choose that clue, it changes the game in some way. So it really, it ramps up a lot. Like, the first game is like, oh yeah, I get this. And then, like, by the third game, you're like, whoa, there's all these things to remember. And then, like, the 5th game, it's like, whoa, there's, like, everything going on. There's a game of mini golf. There's, like, Sudoku and stuff. It's, like, crazy, but really cool. And, like, I also probably had some troubles with it because, so we wanted to play the entire campaign because it was Gen Con, and I was playing with Eric from What's Eric's Plan,
Sure.
Jeremy from Game Geek Ninja, and it was like we wanted to finish it because we wouldn't see each other probably until next Gen Con. So we also started at 10 p.m. We ended the campaign at like 2 or 2:30, and we were all like, yeah, I go to bed at like 9:30, 10 o'clock usually. So I was like, whoa, what are we doing? Why? We should sacrifice a twin. And, things just happened. But it was like a really good experience between like the 4 of us. There was also Nick.
There's somebody else that wants, speaking of Nick, there's somebody else that wants to check in with us. I think you know this guy.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, Nick? So I guess he's not back there taking care of the cats, no?
Oh, no, he is in the other room.
Oh, okay. Well, tell Nick, hey, tell him I enjoyed meeting him at Gen Con. I wonder if he could help us out with the next part. As you know, for our Gumbo Live, we always like to throw in a little game. I mean, this is a board gaming show. And the game we play here is called the Envie Game. It's a good old Cajun word that just means that burning desire, that you really, really want something. You got an envie for something. Yankees may say a hankering, right? So let's see if we can figure out what that game is. So a lot of the questions I've been asking you tonight are trying to give me some some tips or hints on what kind of games you like. So hopefully Steve O'Rourke and Nick can help us out. Does Nick know what game you picked?
I didn't tell him, but he knows what, like, if you had said that, I probably would have, like, I was looking over there so I could, like, get an idea for a different game.
No changing.
Okay, I got this. No, I changed, but I'm good. He won't be able to figure it out.
No changing your game. You got to go with the game you picked. All right, so let's go. Got some questions for you. So first off, it sounds like you like, just based on the way we talked, it sounds like you really like thematic games. So hopefully I'm not messing myself up by going there. So is it a game that was designed in America, like an American designer?
I believe so.
American designer, all right. Let's see. Is it a recent game within the last couple of years?
Yep.
Recent. Okay, good. Come on, Steve. Steve O'Rourke. Come on, Nick, help me out here. Give me some good questions to ask. So we got American game, American designer, a recent game. Is it about space? Is it a space themed game?
Nope.
Not space. Okay. Is it an abstract game?
Not that I know of.
Not an abstract game. All right. Would you consider it to be highly thematic?
I think so. I haven't played it yet.
Oh, you haven't? Oh, okay. That's a good one there. Not played yet. Maybe highly thematic. Let's see. Does it? We said highly thematic. So let me. Oh, so Steve's got a good question. Let's see what he says. Is it a filler game?
I don't think it's a filler, but it's not heavy. It plays in 30 to 60 minutes. 30 to 60
minutes. Oh, Steve, that's a good clue there. 30 to 60 minutes. 30 to 60 minutes. All right, so we know that it's an American design. It's pretty recent. It's not a filler and it's not too heavy. It plays 30 to 60. It's not about space. It's not really abstract. You've never played it before. Did it just come out? Is it brand new?
It's new in the last, I got it from Kickstarter, and I think I got it in the last, 3 or 4 months.
Does it involve cards? Does it got card play?
There's some cards.
Does it have a board?
Not that I know of.
Man, I think I'm going to... No board. Okay, no board. No board. Let me see. 30 to 60, a Kickstarter game. Got cards, not a space theme. Is it a spy theme?
No,
not a spy theme. All right, I'm running out of guesses here. Let's see. Is it a Western theme?
No.
Yeah, not a Western theme. All right, so.
Oh, he said fantasy?
Yeah, Steve says fantasy.
I would say so. It has aspects of fantasy.
It's got an aspects of fantasy. So Troy's got a guess here. Does it have a key and a hints book?
No.
So it's not near and far then, right? No. Not near and far. Good guesses there, Troy or Steve. Anything else? Let's see. So it is kind of fantasy, a little bit. Let's see. Do you change the cards in any way?
I haven't played it, so I don't know. I don't think you do. I don't think you do.
So it's not a game like Mystic Vale. It's not card crafting. No. Is it like card laying in a form of a tableau or tiles?
I think you gain cards, but I don't think the order matters. And I think you lay them out in front of you.
Oh, so it's got some drafting in it a little bit?
I think you have to earn the cards.
So it's not Clank.
No,
it's not Clank. And that wasn't on Kickstarter. Oh, so that's a bad guess. Let's see. Not Clank. So you do gain. So you can buy the cards, right?
I think so.
A fantasy game. Steve, come on, man. You got any ideas here? An American design, pretty recent, off of Kickstarter. Has it fulfilled yet?
Yeah, that's how I got it.
Okay, so you do have a physical copy.
Yeah, I have a physical copy here. I can give a hint.
We may need a hint here.
Okay, it has a bag.
It's got a bag.
Full of crystals.
A bag full of crystals. Boy, that is...
And a white box.
Is it Emergence?
No, it's not. It's not. That doesn't... Well, that has cubes.
I haven't seen the inside of the box, so I don't know what's in Emergence. I don't think... Wait a minute. Anachrony?
No.
That had a white box, I think. But that's not fantasy. That's a space theme. So let me see. A white box, and it's got crystals in it. Man.
If I had to be more specific, it has a dragon theme.
All right, so it's got a fan. Yeah, Dragon Island wasn't on Kickstarter. That's a game that I bought at Gen Con, and it didn't have crystals in it. Let me see. Century Golem Edition didn't have that either. Man, Steve, you got nothing? Come on, Steve. White box. Let me see how many guesses I have. I don't really have many guesses left. I've pretty much burned them all with these.
It has color theory.
It's got color theory in it. Well, that sounds familiar now. Let me see. It's got dragons with color theory. A fantasy game. You know, I'm stumped. I think you're going to win this one, Carla. I hadn't lost one yet, but I think you're going to beat me on that one. What is the game? I can't pick it up.
Okay, it is Underlings of Underwing.
Underlings of Underwing. You actually mentioned that in your podcast with that guy from Ireland. I should have remembered that one.
I thought it would be easy, but
no. I mean, now that you say it, I recognize it now. White box, got the dragon theme. It's got the crystals. Yeah, Steve says, "Hey, I'm not going to help much on Kickstarters." That's probably true, Steve. That's a tough one, but that is a game that I'm aware of. I haven't played it, but. You got me good on that one, especially since I just listened to that podcast last night. I should and doing some show prep. I listened to it. It was actually a pretty good podcast. I can't think of the guy's name, but he had some good questions for you.
Was it Richard? We're Not Wizards?
We're Not Wizards. That's the one.
Yeah.
That's cool. Steve and I have never got to meet, but we always joke around when we text each other about how we're the worst players in our game group. We always lose. And you're right, Steve. Here's chalk it up. I lost. But none of us won this one. So, Carla, you're the big winner here on the Envie Game. I want to thank you for coming in. If people want to reach out to you on social media, how do they do that?
Okay, I am at Weird Giraffes on Twitter. I have Weird Giraffe Games on Facebook and also Carla Kopp on Facebook. We have an Instagram account that I think is Weird Giraffe Games. But yeah, you could just email me at contact@weirdgiraffegames.com with any questions or anything like that.
And there's still time to get Stellar Leap. So if somebody wants to find Stellar Leap, how do they do that?
Okay, you go to stellar-leap.com and it goes straight to the Kickstarter. You can also just search for it. There's also a link on my website, which is weirdgiraffegames.com, and on my Twitter, I tweet about it somewhat frequently, I will admit. But yeah, just go out, check out the campaign page. If you have any questions, concerns, just contact me. I will answer whatever. I love talking with people because, like, if you like board games, you're probably a pretty nice person. So
yeah, so what a great community we have here at Board Games. I mean, we meet people from all over the country. Jeremy is a guy that I talked to on Twitter for months and months, and finally got to meet him at Gen Con. I talked to you on Twitter a couple of times before we got to meet each other at Gen Con. One of these days, I'm going to run into Steve O'Rourke. We both listen to the same podcast, so we have a lot in common. I love the board game community. People just seem to be so friendly and so welcoming in here. So I'm glad to see you and Nick part of it, and I'm hoping to see you guys at a convention in the future. If you guys want to go out there, go support Stellar Leap. It's on Kickstarter. You'll see a little bit more when I do that video on crowd surfing coming up on the Dice Tower. Carla, good luck with the new game and all the new games coming down the pike. And, of course, congratulations again for the big funding on the Kickstarter campaign. I'm BJ from Board Game Gumbo. I want to thank Carla. You want to say goodnight to anybody in particular?
Yeah, just thanks for watching, everyone. It was great being on here. Thanks for having me. I had a lot of fun. Like, if you need somebody to come on again, like, I really enjoyed it.
Absolutely. We're definitely going to have you on again, maybe talking about either your next game or just talking about game nights and cupcakes, two of my favorite subjects. I mean, you and I could talk about those all night.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. I'm BJ from Board Game Gumbo. Hit me up on Twitter at Board Game Gumbo. I want to thank everybody for joining in on another episode of Gumbo Live. And until next time, laissez le bon temps rouler.